Last semester, I took a first-year writing seminar called Gendered Lives, which was all about exploring gender and gender roles through literature. However, our first paper was to write about ourselves. For this piece, which is what I have submitted for this symposium, my class was challenged to tell of a time in which we were gendered. Of course, as a woman, I find every fiber of my existence to be gendered. From the time I was born, I had to perform within the confines of what a woman is and should be. I could have easily written about the sexism I face at work or snide comments about the way I present myself, but I know I could have done more and dug a little deeper. So, when navigating this story, I wanted to challenge myself and narrate a time in which I had gendered myself. I am open about my experiences with mental health issues, and I think these discussions should be destigmatized. I am a woman with chronic depression and generalized anxiety disorder. My journey was not pretty, but it is important to talk about. When brainstorming for this paper, I wanted to tell my story with mental health and how it coincided with an intense desire to perform femininity. My story is raw and can be very uncomfortable. I myself am uncomfortable that this is something I went through. But I wrote this piece to come to terms with my past. My story spans 4 seasons as my mental health gets worse and then better. But what I found most challenging was interweaving my experience with gender throughout my experience with mental health. It's much easier to talk about, I struggled here with this, I cried a little bit here, but to connect it to my relationship with femininity was a challenge. I learned a lot throughout the writing process because it was the first time I let myself think back and critically and objectively analyze my experience. I am a couple years removed, so this felt like a totally different me, a story of someone else. But that's not the case, and this was my story. Through review, I am more aware of how I gender myself in my everyday life, regardless of how I am doing with my mental health. And now I am working to further deconstruct my perceptions of gender and of femininity. My value should not be intertwined with my femininity. I can embrace being feminine if that is what I choose to do, but that does not determine how valuable I am as a human. I hope that this story and moving forward, I hope that from this story and moving forward, I can always be cognizant of how I gender myself, for better or for worse. Thank you.